Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and this is the Piracy Show, or rather a special version of the Piracy Show, because we are doing the Tumbril Nova Q&A. Now, of course, the Tumbril Nova is the new super heavy tank that we are getting in Star Citizen at some point. The concept sale is going on right now through January the 15th, 2018, so let's get started. Okay, question 1. What ships will the Nova fit in? Answer: the Nova is a serious war machine, bigger and more massive than all other ground vehicles introduced to date. One consideration, however, is the height, as the Nova requires ships with a high ceiling. The Idris, for instance, has ample clearance, but many cargo ships do not. So that kind of indicates that this tank is going to be something of a logistical nightmare to get it to a battlefield in a timely fashion. I mean, you have to land in Idris, but if you're landing the Idris and deploying these vehicles, can the Idris carry fighters? That sort of thing. It's not the greatest idea to have something this big without having a vehicle maybe specifically designed to drop it on the battlefield. Now, of course, we heard about the possible Drake Starlifter a while ago when the Drake Kraken and the others were kind of going against each other in a vote. Probably this would have paired very well with something like that. Possibly we'll see it in the future. But yeah, I mean, this would probably be something that, let's say you had a large base on a planet for your org or yourself, whatever. Maybe this would be something that you would like to have situated at that location in case you had to defend it, or if there were various missions or things on that planet that were nearby that you could do with this vehicle. But yeah, getting it to the battlefield in a timely fashion where it can make a difference might be a bit of a problem. Okay, question 2. What size is the main gun? Answer: the Nova's main gun is the equivalent to an S4 ballistic cannon and is integrated into the vehicle's turret design. While the main gun is not modular, other weapon hardpoints on the tank are interchangeable with weapons of the appropriate size. So, straightforward answer. It's a size 4 ballistic cannon. It is what it is. You can't change it out for anything else. Of course, the top mounted gun you can, and probably you can do something with the missiles, but the main gun itself is integrated into the vehicle, so whatever it ends up coming with, that's all you get. Question 3. Why would I use a tank versus a ship? Answer: it entirely depends on the situation. Both have different strengths and weaknesses. Some areas might have particularly strong aerial defenses, are difficult to traverse by air, or have ground terrain that provides a lot of cover. In this case, the tank is the solution to blast through enemy defenses and open the way to friendly ships. Ships are a good recon method to help the tank find the best entry points and plan different attack maneuvers. Ships and tanks are complementary as they can be used together to accomplish objectives. In addition, the Nova is also suited to destroy ships. So this answer really kind of paints a picture of some pretty intensive ground missions in the future, which is cool, which is interesting. Obviously, talking about using combined arms, ships and tanks, that sort of thing, in concert with each other, developing strategies, all really, really cool ideas. It's still, once again, it's the logistical element of getting this to the battlefield and kind of committing a vehicle to transporting these. And I guess it kind of pushes the need for a specific vehicle transport ship into the forefront. Now, we did a video about that back in the summer. Probably a good time to revisit this that video in the next Piracy Show, but for right now, yeah, I mean, everything that's here makes sense. The only question mark is, how do you get it to where you need it in a timely fashion if you don't have an Idris? Alright, question 4. Can the Nova fit different ammo types like modern day tanks? Answer: while the Nova tank has been configured for a specific kind of ammunition, the gun's ammo box has been designed to accommodate different types of ammo, if those are made available in future updates. So not really committing to anything, but yeah, you will be able to put different types of ammo if they are there. Now, chances are, what type of ammo are we going to get? Probably, I mean, armor piercing and high explosive would be your two go-tos, really. Beyond that, possibly some type of energy distortion round, like an EMP round or something like that, but that's just guesswork on my part. Question 5. Can the Nova be loaded or dropped from a dropship? Yes. However, given its intimidating size, the Nova tank can't fit in most currently available ships. Any present or future ships able to transport the Nova can also drop it from a reasonable height, to be determined in development. While it's not advised, provided it lands upright, its tracks and hull are sturdy enough to survive this kind of maneuver. So, I mean, would you really just want to just drop it on the ground? Probably not a good idea, given how uneven the ground can be in certain areas. Probably better to land it some distance away, get your forces organized, and then move forward. I mean, are you really going to be dropping this thing all by itself? You're probably going to have space bikes. You're probably going to have some like tumbril cyclones to go along with it. I mean, just dropping it from the air, it seems like something more out of an 80s cartoon rather than something you would practically do IRL. I mean, there are certainly certain light tanks that can be dropped from the air, but would you really want to do that? Probably not. Well, I guess unless you put in a parachute system in the game, then yeah, I guess you could drop it from the air and it would be practical. Alright, question 6. What are the crew positions? The driver and the support crew are in the front of the tank, while the gunner is in the middle of the tank in a separate room. Well, alright. Great question. Moving on. Question 7. Does it have a deployable mode? Answer. While considering this in its early design stages, the Nova does not have any alternative modes and instead stays focused on a single configuration. So yeah. Answer. All of a sudden we realized that we weren't building a tile-based RTS set in a future sci-fi universe, and then we decided to scrap the siege mode. Question 8. What range does the main gun have? Answer. While we're still determining the exact range, it should fall within the same range as other ballistic cannons. So, yeah, TBD. Complete unknown. Okay, question 9. Does the Nova hold any cargo? TLDR, no. No, it doesn't. Okay, question 10. How rapidly does the main gun fire? Answer. While stats might change, its fire rate should be a bit slower than S4 ship ballistic cannons, around 30 to 50 rounds per minute. We also try to match the rate of fire with the Nova's expected ammunition storage. So yeah, that's a pretty high rate of fire for a tank. I don't know how much ammo you plan to store in that turret, but given the size of the gun, you're gonna blow through it pretty darned quickly. So 30 to 50 rounds per minute, I think is ambitious. Probably closer to like 12 to 15 rounds per minute. Otherwise, it would just be ridiculous, bordering on stupid. Alright, question 11. Does the Nova have countermeasures? The Nova tank indeed has countermeasures! Exclamation point. 4 launchers are set up on the turret to maximize coverage and protection from enemy missiles. Okay. All right, question 12. Considering we have Gravlev technology, why isn't the Nova a hover tank? Answer. While Gravlev technology is indeed a thing, it is expensive to produce and maintain, and is more vulnerable to things like distortion damage. What the Nova loses in agility, it gains in defense. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of self-evident that you wouldn't make it a hover tank. I mean, at that point, why not just fly a ship like the Redeemer or something, like really low to the ground and use it that way? And, I mean, recoil as well might be a problem, considering it is a ballistics cannon. I mean, you could counteract that recoil, but it might be a bit of a nightmare for, you know, the programmers to figure out. So, yeah, just making a tank seems kind of self-evident. All right, question 13. Can I operate the tank by myself? In other words, can I slave the main gun, or must there be a dedicated gunner? Answer, yes. A solo player can operate the Nova without assistance. However, the main gun is designed to shoot directly forward when slaved. We recommend having a second player or NPC to man the Nova. So, yeah, I mean, this isn't going to be, you know, your ticket to World of Tanks in space, or, you know, ground forces or armored warfare. It is going to be like every other multi-crew vehicle in Star Citizen. Okay, question 14. Does the Nova have a compact mode when in storage or being transported? TLDR, no, it doesn't. Okay, 15. What is the top speed of the Nova? Answer, its top speed is currently planned to be around 20 meters a second, which may seem high for such a massive vehicle. However, its acceleration is also relatively slow, so it would still take time to reach top speed. So in normal people terms, or for people who are not math, about just a hair shy of 45 miles an hour, or about 72 kilometers per hour. So, yeah, I mean, in the end, it is a tracked vehicle, and there are certain limitations. So, yeah, I mean, it's not gonna win any races really against, you know, tumbril cyclones or hover bikes. It's not going to be anything amazing. And finally, question 16. Does the Nova have any weak points? Yes. While the Nova has a formidable defense, its rear entry point and the exposed parts of its tracks are weak spots. Any operator should be cautious and avoid exposing these areas to last longer on the battlefield. So, yeah, I mean, the rear entry point, I mean, I guess technically you could make a case for saying that they would probably have a little extra armor back there to protect it. I mean, it is super heavy tonk after all. But then again, yeah, I mean, getting detracked or having the tracks destroyed would be a major problem, because I don't see this being a case where you could simply press your 4 key and use your repair kit and automatically repair your tracks magically in the battlefield like in other games. So that's going to be something of a concern, or a very juicy target for someone with a shoulder operated railgun. So that is the entire Q&A. Now, as for final thoughts on it, I mean, it is what it's supposed to be, right? It's a super heavy tank. It is a super heavy tank. It has the limitations of a tank, and it also has the strengths of a tank. In terms of Star Citizen, what kind of effect do I see this having on the game? I mean, well, we're a ways away from really seeing this thing fully fleshed out and usable in the game, but it does seem to indicate certain things. First of all, we're going to need a vehicle to transport this thing. We're going to need another ship. Now, I did a video about that, I think back in July or August. I'll revisit that topic again, hopefully on the next piracy show. But I mean, this does kind of say, hey, we do need another ship. So, I mean, that's kind of obvious. You're not going to waste the space on an Idris just to carry these things around. Probably you'll get some mileage out of it if you just have one in your base or whatever to guard your possessions, but I mean, how often will you need to use it? Does it justify the expenditure? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of practical questions. Like, I mean, let's say you get a mission that says, hey, go here to this planet, assault this base. Other people are going to be able to see those missions, you know? We all know this. So if someone's out there and they've got their own specialists, their own players who are smart, and they can use things like tumbril cyclones or space bikes, while you're still kind of loading your tanks up, they could be already, you know, en route with a sizable and usable force to complete the objective. So you might find yourself in a bit of a logistical nightmare owning something like this. Practical usability, I mean, it's questionable. I don't really see this being completely useless, but I think that in terms of practical day in, day out, I would say that it has a questionable value. It looks cool. It looks cool. And I'm sure it's going to be a very solid vehicle in a battle. No doubt. The problem is going to be getting it to the battle. Because once again, we're talking about the Star Citizen universe. So we're talking about real traversable distances. You have to load this thing up on a ship. You have to get up into orbit. Then you have to quantum to wherever the mission is. Then you have to, you know, traverse that distance between, say, 2 moons or planets or over to the next system. I mean, when we've seen videos where it takes up to 8 minutes to go from one planet to another within a system. I mean, even in 3.0, we're talking about the moons around one planet when we're traveling around. We're not talking about the real interplanetary distances. When you look at that time factor and all of that, getting this to a place in time for it to be useful, I don't know. And I mean, once again, we are talking about the Star Citizen universe, so it's not like, you know, this isn't World of Warcraft where you can just pull a dragon out of your pocket and mount up and fly away. This, you know, this is a universe that's supposed to be real, air quotes. So, I mean, there's a big practicality question to go along with this, but I mean, it is supposed to be a super heavy tank, and it is a super heavy tank. So there it is. Probably you're going to get more mileage out of things like the tumbril cyclone and space bikes, so day in and day out. Anyways, those are my thoughts and the Q&A on the Tumbril Nova. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.